even in 3 decades ago, you're talking about a Gold Cup that was just so wildly different. Now we talk about this tournament that this year is smaller because it's only taking place west of the Mississippi. But in 1996, it took place in Anaheim, LA, and San Diego, and it was all in January, and there were only 9 teams. So you're just talking about a different idea. Really, this has never been done before by Guatemala. The other thing that they've never done before is made the World Cup. And that's been the focus for Luis Fernando Tena, the Mexican manager, since he arrived in 2021, late in 2021. And so this is almost like a happy footnote. This is almost like, I just think that the momentum that they generate from this tournament, even if they lose handily tomorrow against the US, it's going to give them a lot of confidence in the toughest group of World Cup qualification. The format is that there are 3 groups of 4 teams. The top team goes. The 2 teams that are best ranked, a little confusing, in second place go to a playoff. So I think that they feel good about keeping that dream alive now. And just being in this stage means a huge amount to Guatemala. It's the biggest country in Central America by some margin. And I think in the U.S., we sort of almost overlook the migrant community of Guatemalans in the U.S. because we talk about Mexican immigrants, even Honduran immigrants, Salvadoran immigrants. But as we've seen at the Gold Cup, there are huge amounts of Guatemalan people that live in this country, that travel to this country, that are excited about this team. They've been showing up at all the stadiums. I don't think the Guatemalan team themselves thought there would be anyone in Minnesota, and yet there were thousands. And so, I just think that it's a really special moment for this team, but also the culmination of a process. There are very few countries that make the semifinals of their continental tournament, however easy or difficult you want to say that it is, without some sort of long-term plan. And when you look at what Tena has done to empower some of the local players, but also to bring in some of the US-born recruits, make sure that team meshes, make sure there's good synchrony there, I think has been really smart. In a way, you say it's not a surprise for a manager that's won a gold medal with Mexico. That was a long time ago, and I think there were some real criticisms about how he managed at his last couple of Liga MX stops. But now he's got this Guatemala team in the semifinals and believing that they might be able to make the World Cup for the first time ever, which would just be huge in this region. If they're back in the U.S. next summer, we think the crowds are good this summer. They'll go crazy next year.